welcome back, everybody. How much does it cost to build a home? That, of course, the big question today in our Ask Alan Anything segment. Our resident contracting expert, Alan Wheeler, is in the studio to discuss the cost of building a home. Alan, welcome back to the program. So I got to ask you, what is the cost of building a home?
Well, John, in the last month or two, a number of people have been calling me and saying, I understand you build homes. I say yes. So what does it cost to build a home?
That's a loaded question, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm waiting for them to maybe say something more, and nothing comes up. And I realize it's a legitimate question, but I realize that, so I said, where are they coming from? Mm-hmm. So I went to the dictionary.
A smart place to go in times of not knowing something.
And I was thinking, well, maybe they're thinking commodity because we buy things on the internet. And Webster says, a good or service whose wide availability typically leads to smaller profit margins and diminishes the importance of factors other than price. Factors other than price. So then what's the opposite of that? And so I came up with, and Webster's also unique, distinct, premium, and exclusive. And I think, well, when I'm building a house, that's what I'm thinking. Right, custom homes. But I realized they weren't, thinking that way.
So you kind of have to tailor it to whatever needs that you want. And that's where you come in when building these homes. So that question, of course, is loaded because each one is going to be different.
Right. I mean, for instance, a couple of examples. If a lady of the house says, I'm going to put draperies, and she doesn't want standard, she really wants something nicer, she wants a custom drapery, well, she's going to, and she might call, well, what's drapery cost? Well, it depends. How long, how big, are they tiebacks, do you have a valance, all the variables of custom. So a custom home is really just that. I mean, it's really a custom home.
And that means you get to be creative and do it to your price point, and also get the features you want. So what are the components you think that affect cost the most, Alan?
Well, there's some broad areas. One is I'll say, okay, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms? And I'll say 3 bedrooms, 2 baths typically. And I'll carry them through some questions. But one of the things that I volunteer up front is, well, a 1-story house is more expensive per square foot than a 1.5 story. Because a 1.5 story is you have a roof that's steep and you can tuck in bedrooms up in that half story. Mm-hmm. 2-bedroom is less expensive than the other 2. So then I say, so what are you thinking about? If they say 1 story, I explain the factors of more foundation and so on. And then I'll say how many bathrooms, because bathrooms per square foot are expensive. And then I'll say, well, are you thinking about a metal roof or an asphalt shingle roof? Because metal's 4 times more expensive. And then I'll say, well, are you in a flood zone? No. Well, are you thinking about raising the house up?
Sure.
Or having a crawl space? And I say a crawl space is a lot less expensive than raising a house up. So I go through and I'm finding that then when I engage and ask them questions, it kind of falls into place.
So you clearly need to do your homework before you approach a builder like yourself. So where can you start? What's kind of the starting point if you want to build one of these custom homes?
Well, if they, let's say, have not done the homework when they call me, then I'll get them feeling like, this direction with the main questions. And I have a wish list. I mentioned that before in prior sessions. So I'll mail them a wish list, and I say it's a checklist for details that help me see where you're coming from. So then they'll fill it out, then we'll have an appointment, I'll sit down, and then I can show pictures of the features. I'll tell them to, get pictures.
Alan, you've been doing this a long time. Can you say that building a custom home is the same, equal, less value than buying an already existing home and kind of putting those renovations in?
Okay, if you want probably, well, there's a difference, John. A new home is going to be probably per square foot in today's prices a little more than the same square footage in an existing, but not that much more. But then you have in a custom home exactly what you want.
Right. So that might be the answer. It's up to you guys to decide out there, and you can call this guy, Alan. He'll answer any questions here on Low Country Live or on his website. Just Make sure you log into that right on the bottom of your screen or call that number right there. Alan, thank you so much for your time, sir. Do appreciate it as always.
Thanks, John.
Great to see you. More Low Country Live after this. Stay with us.